Greenleaf Printing and Designs has stupendous signage, printed and embroidered apparel, and promotional products for you. They're at 5526 Burkhart Road in Dayton and on the web at greenleafprinting.com.
Good morning, Mayor and Commissioners. Thank you so much for receiving our call today. First, I would like to thank you.
Does she need to give her name and address?
Oh,
Jerry.
I'm sorry. Jerry Stannard with K-12 Gallery for Young People, 510 East 3rd Street.
Thank you.
First, I would like to thank you all for coming to the call and brokenness of the East End community. When I presented about 6 months ago, we had asked for a particular building that a recent crime had taken place in a fire, and you all very generously saw that building was taken care of. Thank you so much. It means a whole lot to the people on Bolton Street and beyond. I live and work in the city and have done so for 25 years. I really enjoy downtown life, and in the time I have lived here, I have seen the city grow in cultural richness and diversity. And I am proud to tell people about all the great things that we offer here in the city of Dayton. In spite of these joys, there are practical problems with something rather dull and mundane, but in from several owners and operators who are having problems with the metered parking outside the cannery on East 3rd Street. Recently, we have noticed a huge spike in parking tickets in these spaces. I have personally received 4 parking tickets in the last 2 weeks. I'm very conscientious of the meters and the time on the meters. Other businesses at the cannery have reported similar increases in the number of tickets written for their workers and customers. But it's not just the meters. Police officers are harassing us over parking. As strange as it might sound, I was almost arrested the other day over a parking dispute. On Monday, I was working at K-12 and noticed a new customer struggling to park her car. The driver was an Asian woman who speaks very little English and does not live in the city of Dayton. She was unfamiliar with the parking spot, which required you to back into them at an angle. While she was inside tending to her children, attending our summer art camp, I was told that a police officer is preparing to have her car towed. This is a terrible first impression for us. So I ran out to the car to see what was going on. The officer told me the car was not parked properly and would be towed. When I explained to the officer that she was unfamiliar with this territory, he threatened to arrest me. He asked me to step to the curb. He told me it was none of my business, and I cited that it was my business, that I'm taking care of her children all day this week. I'm not a criminal, and visiting families from other cities are not criminals either. We should not treat them as such over something simple as parking. With so few businesses remaining.
Ms. Stannard, can you, I understand your issue on the enforcement. Can you talk a little bit about what you think the solutions are?
Yes.
Okay.
However, we had a bad experience with one officer whom I will not name at the time. A very nice and wonderful, friendly City of Dayton police officer named Officer Curley. He had entered our establishment for a similar parking problem with the car being over into the thoroughway. And so I said, can we look at this for a minute? So we stepped outside and looked at the parking situation. We at the cannery, and as Jen had said, we love creativity. We love innovation, and we actually love that the parking is creative, and it's very different than anything else, within a 100-mile radius. It's different. It's unique. But it has been causing some problems. So the officer, Curley, and I, in talking about the problem, he had some very good suggestions that wouldn't cost the city much money. One, I included a photograph of the area. One is to add add a bright color of paint on that curb that gets you right to the meters. I'm a master parallel parker. I can park in a pinch. And when this first started, I personally parked my car there so that people would understand how to do it. We're conscientious about the safety of our people and children too. I still continue to struggle, but that's okay. It's good to learn new things. It's good to learn a new process, and we understand that. But the officer had suggested that a few simple ways of correcting it could be to highlight this area, and you can see cars are afraid they're going to hit the meter with their bumper, so they're afraid to back all the way in. The other suggestion was to use some sort of textured tape or colored tape or metal markers so that your car revs up a little when you pass through the safe zone. I thought those were both very good and inexpensive suggestions. And the third would be if we could narrow that section down to one lane so that traffic coming through would allow our customers to just safely back right into that space. Those were the only suggestions that we had.
Well, no, those are good suggestions. Thank you.
Yeah, and expensive ones too.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for coming today. We appreciate it.
Okay. Commissioners have asked just to make copies of the materials so that we can give it to Chief Beal and Mr. Stovall and Mr. Fink to take a look at this and make some recommendations to us.
Mr. Reed, I think I'd like to say we apologize for the bad treatment your customers and you have received, if they have. We really do apologize. We don't mean that. We don't want to treat people like that.
Well, we see what we can do about it, so thank you.
I call Destiny Hamilton to the podium.